So let's begin the session. Is my voice audible to all of you today? Is it clearly audible to all of you? It's an important class. It will be benefiting both risk and credit students. Yes, for Madhusudan Silpa. Okay. Yes. Okay. So how is the experience in app? Is it okay? Similar to Zoom? Is the experience in app similar to Zoom? Okay, perfect. Thank you, Achilles. Thank you. So the app development is working. Right. Great. That's a great relief. Okay, thank you. I have a at first I have a good news to yes, Avinav. Okay, so many of you have joined so far. Yes, working perfectly. Right, Anil. Thank you for your feedback. Okay, great. Avinav, will you please put down your hand because this is going to disturb the PPT. Kindly put down the hand. It is there in the more option. Okay, so I have important information to share to credit people first. Risk I'm going to arrange that. Don't worry about it. I am completely dedicated to provide you complete material as I have promised. This is equivalent to my preparation, so nothing to worry. And I will be providing you the exact credit material that is going to constitute your question paper. Okay, where they are going to make questions, I will be providing you that material that will be of around 150 pages. Okay, not more than that, but it will completely discuss, and in a very simplified manner it will discuss all loan documents, all loan procedures, all ad hoc systems in banking, in credit management, like CERSAI registration, mortgages, etc. Okay, so this is going to be complete focused syllabus for credit people. So I got few messages from risk peoples to arrange such material for them. Don't worry about it. Whatever material I'm preparing, whatever slides, whatever documents I am preparing for you is directly linked to banks. Okay, so don't worry about it. Nothing out of syllabus I'm going to teach you. I think in this upcoming RRB exam, written exam, you will find you can check my advices whether they are true or not. Anything beyond my course is not going to feature. Okay, anything beyond syllabus I will not teach you, and anything unnecessary, anything extra I am not going to teach you. I am going to teach you less, very less for that matter, but I will teach you complete syllabus, 100% syllabus. I feel pity on them, those who are wondering for correct syllabus even after enrolling to 4,000, 5,000 courses. I think as of now you would have got a sense that why this 999 is for, and this kind of material people are working with us. Yes, yes, for BOI and PNB it is going to be useful. If it is not going to be useful, I will not be referring it. Okay, yes, professional knowledge point of view my syllabus is completely okay, but for credit managers I am going to provide a additional added advantage, additional book, additional material that is directly linked to these banks. Okay, anyone going to join as a credit manager is going to refer these materials, and the question papers are going to be created out of these materials. So this is the level of our preparation strategy, and those who are inside the bank are this is not, they are informing us what to prepare, and on basis of their inputs we have already prepared all that documentation kind of thing, etc. completely. Okay, our senior bankers, the experts, those who are with us are preparing hard for this type of complete and dedicated materials, so don't worry about it. Okay, so this 999 is just for development of study material for all of you, development of technological access for you, like this app, website kind of thing, because we are not technical experts. People those who are creating are charging us, hence we needed it. Otherwise we are not here to make money. I think as of now you could have sensed it. Okay, so don't worry about it. This will be my complete dedication, and we'll start risk management. And as far as you know that in my classes, all my classes are for everyone. This is going to clear all your ideas. I think those who have joined my class, even if they have attended 5 to 6 classes with me, they could have changed, they could have noticed that they, in their banking knowledge level, there is a bit change. If I could not change your banking level, I am going to be simply useless. You can give adverse feedback to me. I don't worry. I will rectify myself. Yes, Anil. Okay. Thank you, Anil, for your kind wordings. Okay. So this is my dedication, and I'm not teaching those who are laymen. I am teaching banking experts. So without proper info, without proper knowledge, this is not possible, because people having 10 years of banking experience is our enrolled students. People, those who are chartered accountants, are even our students. So there is no room for us to make bakwas, and that's why I am challenging every course maker that I could give better material than anybody else in India. So with that note, because I have taken this as a challenge, without taking a challenge you cannot do anything. Okay, so I have taken this as a challenge, and suddenly why I have started this, because of some kind of challenge arose in some higher level. I was invited for someone to by somebody to teach on behalf of them. I was given a high remuneration. I have to deny, and they said some bad things to me, and I decided I will go digital. Once you are having a YouTube with you, mobile set in your hand, if you want to reach people and you are developing true content, then nobody can stop you. So this is a challenge I have taken. So I request your kind supports. But the way people are supporting us is really overwhelming. It's changing our knowledge level, our efforts, and those who are contributing material to us are highly regarded. Okay, so Maya Ravi is here in our class from Coimbatore. She has developed, she has helped us in developing few materials, though she has just started helping us. She is an enrolled candidate, but still she is preparing for us. That's a great contribution, and this is going to help both of us, because this is going to help her to enrich her banking awareness, knowledge, and ours. So we'll not delay further. We'll start with risk management. Okay, there was a comment, I skipped it. Okay, let's start with credit risk definition. Okay, and this study material will be for credit managers. I am going to provide it within 5-6 days. Okay, don't worry about it. There is ample time for your preparation. For that, till that time, you prepare with these study materials, and this is coming. This is going to be very simplifying in manner. Okay, so credit risk, both credit and risk and SBI CBO people have a watch on it. Credit risk is a risk that a financial loss will be incurred if a counterparty or a derivative uh, in derivatives, the counterparty term comes into effect. Otherwise, in other credit instruments, there are borrowers, lenders, and borrowers. Okay, so derivative transaction does not fulfill its financial obligation in a timely manner, because it is the default risk. There is a chance if somebody taking a loan from us may default. Okay, because we bankers are taught not to trust anybody. We don't even trust our own borrowers. Okay, so there is a chance that he is going to commit a default. So that is the kind of risk. Even if he is a good customer, but that there is no certainty that he is going to pay in time. There could be adverse conditions, and there are many things, global conditions, international situations, which we call country risk, etc., may force this customer to not to pay. Okay, even if good customers during this corona time prefer moratorium and not to pay. So there are risks involved to every single credit proposal. And in banking, remember, credit risk is the most important risk. So I will be discussing with you many terms like credit default swap, credit linked notes, etc. All the related terms that is going to be very important for your both written and exam point of view, and this is very important for all others for professional knowledge point of view. Okay, so do focus. It is therefore a function of the following: the value of the position exposed to the default, the credit or the credit risk exposure, the proportion of this value that would be recovered in the event of a default, and the probability of a default. Okay, these are the credit risk philosophy. I just want you to have a look on these philosophies, because philosophies don't feature as your MCQ, but this could be a interview question. And when you understand these literatures of credit risk, then you will be in a better position to explain them, and in a manner you will also gain some knowledge. Without understanding why and how of anything, you are not going to crack any exam. Remember this. Whatever knowledge skill you have, whatever memory power you have, you will remember every single concept. But if you don't understand why this has happened and how this has happened, you may forget when it has happened. No issue, because you are not preparing for a history examination. You are preparing for a commerce and banking examination, which is economics in a sense, okay, or commerce in a sense. So you don't need to remember when it has happened, but you should remember why it has happened and how it has happened. If the recession is knocking at the doors, or somebody says, many experts saying a recession has happened, so what is that recession, how this has happened, okay, how this has happened, and why recessions do happen. Okay, so all these things you need to remember if you want to crack the examination. Because if you are going to crack written exams in lateral entry segment, then you are going to achieve nothing. The last and final assault is interview. And in specialist and lateral entry examination, they decide on interview board whether to take you in or take you out, to say you goodbye. This depends upon them. Okay, so be prepared. And you would have seen that how in all these examinations they say that written has no value. It is qualifying in nature. Understood? So credit risk is also loosely to mean the probability of default regardless of the value that stands to be lost. Okay, so these are the philosophy you have to define. You have to define by yourself. You have to understand these concepts and define by yourself. Remember, in these examinations, in particularly in this type of examinations, the interview questions are certain. Those who have appeared in the examination, they know what exactly they're going to ask. Okay, so when it is certain and you are going to prepare for this examination, then why should not you prepare a few questions? Why should not you prepare your own answers to them? Because it is certain. I can challenge you, as I have told you that I have I have told Manish what type of question they are going to ask. Even in a 1 hour session, I have covered 80% of his questions in Bank of India credit officer exam. So this is how, if you are appeared any credit manager's examination, credit officer's exam interview, you know, or in lateral entry examination, you know what they are going to ask. There are a few favorite questions. They will ask you about Basel. They will ask you about MPC. These are the favorite questions. Let me tell you, there is a list of questions. Out of that, they are not going to ask you anything. Yes, if some events have recently happened, they are going to ask you. And many people who prepare you for mock interviews, they say, Don't answer to political questions. Be technical when a political question is asked. If you favor Modi, if someone is there sitting sitting a congressman may make you fail. These are completely bakwas. They are not going to ask you any political question. Have you seen a political question in interviews, in lateral entry interviews? Okay, this is not a PO interview. Remember, it is different. In PO interview, anything can be a question. But in a lateral entry examination, only banking is a question. Your profile is a question. Who are you is a question. What you have done so far is a question. Your last job profile is a question. Domain credit knowledge is a question. They will ask you about LCBG. These are the favorite questions. Basel 3 is a favorite question. They will ask you all these questions. Nothing out of it. I can guarantee they are not going to ask you anything out of syllabus. Anything out of few questions. There are few particular questions. Everyone is going to be asked in throughout the nation. Throughout the nation. Check last examination. Check with the Bank of Maharashtra people what they have asked. They are going to grill you on basis of your last job profile. If you have worked in a branch, then what is how to open a branch. If two persons have open an account jointly, how to operate it. What is the mode of operation in a joint account. No nomination kind of thing. All these they are going to ask you. Nothing out of this. So preparation of interview bit easy, but you have to prepare accordingly. Okay, so components of credit risk. If you want me to skip my unnecessary talks, you can, but these are very much important for your exam point of view. How you have to know how to crack it. This should be in your mind. These are the times when you need to prepare smartly. Okay, even if the competition is between 2 3 people or less number of people, that doesn't matter. You should know how to crack them. Okay, so what constitute credit risk? There are two situations when this credit risk may occur. Okay, this is solvency aspect or liquidity aspect. There could be two aspects when a customer may default on his credit facility. Right? First is solvency. Solvency means the well-being, the position, whether he is going to uh, uh, insolvent means someone has gone bankrupt. Okay, and solvency here means the well-being of somebody. Okay, the eloquent status, that is solvency. Then the borrower unable to pay. If its solvency is not good, he is not up to mark. What is the difference between insolvency and bankruptcy? Can someone tell me? Many of you have watched my IBC class. I think we should discuss related terms. Everybody should. This is also for risk people. Everybody can, anyone can answer. Can anyone tell the difference between insolvency and bankruptcy? There is a very narrow difference. Solvency, insolvency, and bankruptcy. I am not getting answer from anyone. Why so? I don't expect my students should be so silent. Make some roars. I want my students to roar in my class because this should be a two-way communication. Yes, Madhu, right. So insolvency is the inability to pay your dues. Okay, and when it is legally stamped upon you, when it is officially declared, it is called bankruptcy. Got it? Got it? So solvency, yes, Madhu. Others must have answered it. Others must have answered it. There is no big deal because these type of questions they ask, and in one question they will decide whether you have in-depth knowledge or not. Okay, so this is it. This is why I want to say that you need to be thorough. And after the 3 4 months I want to make a line, make draw a line between students, those who have prepared with us and those who have not prepared with us. I want to make a line. This is, somebody asked me what is the aim of your course. I said at the end of this class, or 3 6 4 months, or after 1 year, there should be a line that someone who has studied with us, who has prepared with us, and someone who was not prepared with us. There should be the difference, and I still believe self study should be there. Yes, Achilles says once more. Okay, let me tell you, insolvency is when you are unable to pay your dues, right? When you are not capable enough, financially sound enough to pay your dues, getting it or not. That is insolvent person who cannot pay his dues, who cannot pay back his loans. He is an insolvent person, right? Have you got it, Achilles? Have you got it? Have you got it? Yes. So this is insolvency. But when in through the IBC code or through legal means, when court declares you insolvent, that is bankruptcy. When court declares you insolvent, then you become bankrupt. When you are insolvent, you are not in a position to pay your dues, but the lenders will come knock at your doors every single time. But once you are declared bankrupt, it is now officially declared by a court, and nobody will come, everybody will know that you are not able to pay, right? That is bankruptcy. Still you have any doubt? Okay, okay, okay. We have to simplify things and remember accordingly. So when somebody cannot pay, when his solvency status is not good, if he is not having enough money, then he is not definitely going to pay, because if he has gone bankrupt, he cannot pay, and if he is not bankrupt, he may pay. So this is solvency aspect. Okay, is status, the status of the customer, right? Liquidity aspect. Liquidity is availability of cash. If the cash is not available, then the repayment may delay. So these are two situations, two broad situations when there could be a credit risk. Got it? Got it? Two ways one could delay his payment. One could go default, make a default in his credit profile, credit portfolio. One is solvency situation, solvency aspect. If he is not well to do, he may not pay. And if he is not having enough cash, that is a liquidity aspect, then he may delay in his payment. Am I clear up to this point? Am I clear up to this point, friends? Am I clear now up to this point? Okay, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. So types of credit risk. Yes, there are two types of credit risk broadly: transaction risk, portfolio risk. In transaction, there is one grade risk, second one is default risk. In portfolio risk, that is concentration risk, and second one is intrinsic risk. Okay, so these are the broad types. We'll discuss it further, don't worry about it. So expert system, credit risk measurement, then comes credit risk measurement. The decision is taken by lending officer who is expected to possess expert knowledge in assessing creditworthiness of the customer. So all your fellow classmates in this class, those who are going to be credit manager, should come under this expert system. Okay, so one of the most common expert system in credit management is 5C. 5C is character, capacity, cash flow, capacity or cash flow, capital, conditions, collateral. Okay, so let's see what is character. A lender's opinion of a borrower's general trustworthiness, credibility, and personality. So when you are going to assess somebody's, whether you are going to provide a loan to someone or not, you have to look after this 5C, right? First is character. In your opinion, what is his character? Either you can check it from civil, etc., or you can have a general opinion by making a field investigation to the customers abodes, house, office, etc. Okay. Then capacity and cash flow, his ability to repay. Can he repay or not? If he is not having sufficient cash flows to his business or from his salary, then he is going to default, right? Capital, the amount of money invested by the business owner or management team. So what capital he is having, and if he has put sufficient capitals to his business, then it is definitely mean that he has enough interest in his business. So that is important. You have to assess in a project that whether the owner of the project is having sufficient interest or not. If he is doing this project just to evade taxes, just to do a side business, if he is not interested enough, if it is not his domain area, an actor making a hotel business, you will find this his main job role is to act in movies, but he still want to have a business tycoon by owning chain of hotels. So there you can find that the interest may clash, and his capital is not being invested. If he has not invested sufficient capital to a business, or if he is not having expert in particular domain, or unnecessarily, or to make a side business, if he is doing this, then there could be, you could sense that there is a chance of lack of interest on the project. Okay. So through capital you will sense customers interest on a particular project, right? Conditions, whether it is growing or faltering. Okay. As well as what you will use the funds for. It also considered that state of the economy, industry trends, and how these factors might affect your ability to repay the loan. So conditions, because various conditions affect customers productivity, customers income level, etc. So if you are funding to a business, whether this business is going to grow or decline in future. Okay. If there is a certain rise in certain price level of some commodities, what will be the counter effect to this kind of business, whether this business is going to sustain in future or not, viability of the project. If someone is still making a business related to related to some old technology, it may perish in few days. So such type of assessment you have to do. You have to check the conditions, on which condition or on which state this business is on, and whether there is any futuristic approach to his business or not. That is the conditions. Okay. Collateral, assets that are going to be used as guarantee, what he could offer us if this loan is going to be given to him, whether this loan is going to be an unsecured loan or a secured loan. A secured loan is backed by a mortgage, backed by a collateral. So if he has enough collateral to offer, then you have no issue. Your loan becomes secure and you should be in a more comfortable position to offer him a loan. So these are the characteristics of credit assessment. Those who are preparing for your examinations, uh, surely they are going to appear interview. If you are preparing with me, I can guarantee this much, and you should have similar faith on yourself. So this could be question, and if you answer with this type of examples, this type of direct and pinpoint answers, then the impression that you are going to leave on your interviewer's mind is going to change your selection possibility, right? So then comes credit rating. Credit rating is both necessary for risk people and for credit people. Even those who are working in credit management are going to have some people from risk. They are going to assess that whether complete risk assessment in these credit cases have done or not, you have done it or not. Okay. They are going to counter check, right? Whether a field investigation is done or not, is it thoroughly visited, have you thoroughly visited the place or not, etc. are going to be checked by these risk people. Okay. And in the future, risk people are going to assess every document that is being forwarded by a credit manager, whether the documents come under faulty criteria, or whether there are any fault in KYC norms, that are going to be checked by risk managers in coming days. So many of many, why this there is no availability of materials in market, I should say you, only because that in risk manager profile there were no general vacancies. Earlier there used to be specialist vacancies and very less number of people were there in risk management, and they were generally senior scale 3 scale 4 officers. Okay, so but nowadays they want more number of risk managers, and those who are preparing for risk management are going to appear in upcoming exams of other banks also. So stay tight, stay prepared. This is my uh, revelation to all of you. Okay, so why credit rating? Both for risk and credit is important, because once you thorough check credit rating, you can mitigate the risk, right? So a credit rating is an opinion of a particular credit agency regarding the ability and the willingness of the entity, government, business, or an individual to fulfill its financial obligation in completeness and within the establishment due dates. A credit rating also signifies the likelihood a debtor will default. It is also representative of the credit risk carried by a debt instrument, whether a loan or a bond issuance. Okay, I think all of you have seen credit ratings. Fresh credit managers, those who are going to be joining banks for the first time, have you seen a civil report in your life? How many of you have not seen civil reports in your life? Is there anyone who has not seen a civil report in his life? For them I need to explain here, but for others I think this slide is self-explanatory, right? Is there anyone? I guess no one is there. Most of us have seen the credit rating. Yes, I have seen. Definitely, Akhilesh. Is there anyone who have not seen? And remember, no one going to crack bank exams with a cracked credit rating, with a bad civil report. Nowadays, it is going to be mandatory. Okay. So let me tell you a beautiful example of civil of a credit rating. In the year, I guess in 2012, an Infoscian, an employee of Infosys, a lady employee of Infosys came to me. I was there in ICICI Bank that time. She came to me. She has taken a loan few days back. She came to me and said, "Sir, I want a credit rating. I want a civil report of someone." I said, "Why?" She requested me again and again and again, and that credit rating doesn't belong to her. So, but she insisted me that I need this report. Anyhow, I need this report. I said, no, it's not possible. At that point of time, people were not knowing that it could be revealed by paying the details. I have a PAN card with me. Just provide me the credit rating. I said, why don't you log in? No, if I log in, I need exact information, mobile number, etc. It may populate to him. So there could be OTP kind of thing. He may check, but if you check from your end, you are going, it will not show. So I said, who is he? She said, ki, I am going to marry this person. So I want to know whether his credit rating is good or bad. If he is defaulting in banks, then he may default in relationships as well. I said, oh, what a awakening. Okay. So that was for the first time I understood that civil report is going to be used in matrimonial sites also in coming days. Okay. Okay. Same happened to you, Madhusudan. Okay. Great. So this is it. Nowadays, okay. That's a great idea. Right, right, right. Okay, that guy was in abroad. Yes, yes. Okay, but both of them were Infosians, but somehow she has some doubts. She wanted to check. Yes, if someone is defaulting to his obligations to bank, he may default in his relationship obligations as well. Okay, in ICICI. Okay, Madhu. Okay, right, right, right. Okay. So I helped her. The main point is that I helped her, but they should not be done, right? And the another thing, this risk people must know they are going to do this. Let me tell you another example. When I was in ICICI for 3-4 years, I was in a very good position, and I'm getting promotions after promotions in a very good position, and there was nobody who was against me at that point of time. Though time has changed, but I was in a very good position. And suddenly I got a call. Someone said me, भाई थोड़ा सा बैलेंस बताओ तो चेक देना है. I was into loan department, and such calls normally come to me. Okay, so I thought it is one of my customer or friend or someone like. I was so busy at that time, and it was this call was planned so beautifully that I could not even ask him who is he. I supposed to know him. So I thought, yes, definitely. And he's भाई जरा balance check करो 0411, like this. He started telling me this number. Okay, so I just started typing this number, and I was about to reveal him the balance. Okay, I said, okay, who are you? Whose account number is this? He said, please tell me. And then I got that out, because I used to tell this balance to few people, because some of our friends on call, maybe somebody has noticed it from risk department. So after a few minutes, I found, after a few minutes, he discontinued the call when I asked whose account number is this. So then I called him again and again. The number came switch off. Okay, that was a mystery shopping, right? If I would have revealed the account balance at that point of time, my job was already gone. And it happened when I was in a very uh, uh, in a very well equipped with ICICI culture, right? It can happen to anyone. Revealing balance to anyone on phone is against policy. Okay, even you cannot reveal the account balance to the wife of the customer, right? So this is, you would have to take a note. This type of culture is now going to be started in PSUs. That's why they are recruiting this risk people. And don't underestimate this risk people. I am telling you, don't underestimate these risk managers. In coming days, they are going to eat some of your jobs. These are going to be very crucially positioned in bank. Okay, so gossips apart, I was telling credit rating. It is an opinion that a particular credit agency regarding the ability and willingness of entity to fulfill its financial obligations, etc. This is credit rating. What he has done in past, what type of loans he has taken, what type of bonds he has get an issuance of bonds, etc. is going to be visible in his civil records. Big three credit rating agencies are S&P Global Ratings, Moody, and Fitch Group. These credit rating agencies, sorry, I am talking about credit rating. Sorry. Again, I have mistaken here. It is credit rating, not credit information. Credit information is civil kind of thing. Those who check the track record of individuals. And this credit rating provide a rating to companies, to borrowers, to assess their credit quality, right? And they check the chance of default. If it is a plus rating, it's good. It's B rating, etc., they are bad, right? A plus, etc., are good. There are different metrics of rating. Even countries are being rated, right? Countries are also rated. I think you will be knowing it. So why countries are rated? Because countries do take loans, they are borrowers. If a country is having good ratings, he is to get loans at cheaper rate. Okay, the companies that are being rated with a good rating can get loans in a cheaper rate, right? So the big three credit rating agencies in the globe is S&P Global Ratings, which we call S&P, Standard and Poor's, I think you may be knowing it, Moody's, Fitch Group. Okay, Standard and Poor and Moody's are based in the US, while Fitch is dual headquartered in New Delhi and New York and London. Okay, getting it? So US, in US, S&P Moody are headquartered, and they are headquartered at New York. And others normally see business companies are in USA. Business companies are headquartered at New York because New York is the headquarter, is the financial capital to USA. And some of the UN kind of Washington consensus kind of things, like what are the Washington consensus, World Bank and this IMF, they are called Washington consensus. Washington consensus was a meeting held in Washington before the establishment of IMF and World Bank. Hence these two organizations were established in headquartered in Washington, right? So, as of now in India, there are 6 credit rating agencies which are registered under SEBI. They are namely CRISIL, ICRA, CARE, SMERA, SME Rating Agency, that is SMERA. Okay, Peach India and Brickwork Ratings, right? So, credit score. A credit rating is used to determine the entity's creditworthiness. Okay, and wherein an entity could be an individual, a business, a corporation, or a sovereign country. Right? I was saying it to you. In case of a loan, the ratings used to establish whether loan should be rendered in the first place or not. If the process goes further, it helps deciding the term of the loan, such as dates of repayment, etc. So credit rating define the way you are going to enhance someone a loan. If he is having a -1 score, that means if he is having a nil score or he is new to credit, for the first time he is taking a loan from you, that loan from any organization, then he is a new to credit. Okay, so a new to credit customer should not be given an unsecured loan for past point. Even if he is being given a unsecured loan, then he must be given a smaller amount of loan with less repayment period. Okay, 36, 48 months, etc. Right. So this decides the term and conditions of credit. Okay, the loan. So at present there are 4 credit information companies in India: TransUnion Civil, Equifax, Experian, CRIF, Highmark. Getting it? So why this credit score is required? To assess the credit risk of the customer. If credit ratings are good, credit score is good, then definitely this customer is unlikely to make a default. But if the credit rating is bad, that means he has a habit of defaulting. So in future he may default. Okay. So exposure ceilings, think I have discussed to you in an entire class about Reserve Bank of India's large exposure norms. There you have seen what are the large exposure norms. For a single entity, for a single borrower, bank can extend maximum 20% of its tier 1 capital as loan. Okay, not beyond that. What with in exceptional conditions, with the approval of board of directors, that amount can go up to 25% of tier 1 capital. Getting it? If it is a group, that could be upfront 25%. Remember, still people are teaching, I have seen recently, still people are teaching that the exposure norm says 50%, 15% to a individual, 10% additional, and 40% for 40% for what groups. Someone has told me, someone is teaching credit and told this is the large exposure norm. Sir, I think it has been changed. He messaged me. Okay, always remain with current amendments. That's why I am providing exclusive RBI circular GS. There they discuss about amendments. This is already amended from 2019. Okay, earlier there from 2004 there was 15 and 40%. It has now been changed. Minimum for an individual or a single company is 20%. Maximum there you can go up to 25%. Anyone saying something? Right. So this is it. Review and renewal. multi-tier credit approving authority, constitution-wise delegation of powers, higher delegated powers for better rated customers, discriminatory time schedule for review renewal, hurdle rates at benchmarks, and fresh exposure and periodicity of a renewal based on risk rating, etc. are formulated. So in a organization, in a bank, there should be credit review, regular credit review. What they want to say, renewal of credits. If it is a CC loan, every year you want to renew, you need to renew it. Okay, you have to take stock statements in every 3 months, right? So these are to be done in a high level. Okay, this credit of approving authorities to enroll rules and regulations regarding a review of credits which had already been extended. This is to check that these credit proposals are not sleeved to non-performing assets. Getting it or not? These are the credit risk measurements. First one is exposure ceiling. For that I have done a entire class, complete class, I guess. Now comes portfolio management. This is again to check the credit ratings. Okay, credit risk. So the need for credit portfolio management emanates from the necessity to optimize the benefits associated with diversification and reduce the potential adverse impact of concentration of exposure to a particular borrower, sector, or industry. Okay, like I was saying in my yesterday's class, that there was a fall in power industry in last 3-4 years, right? So if you have given loans extensively to power sector, to employees of power sector, then there is a concentration risk. You are putting all your eggs into one basket. So if a bank is having high exposure to power industry, then what he need to do, he need to diversify his portfolio. He has to reduce the exposure to the industry related to power. Okay, and he has to enhance his exposure to other industries. So this is to avoid concentration risk. What is concentration risk? Investing in a particular sector, that is concentration, concentrating on a particular thing. If you are putting all your money on stock market and not putting anything in FD or bank fixed deposit, that means you are taking a huge risk. In case your stocks fail, you are going to be ruined. That is the concentration risk. And that's why these mutual funds are there. Mutual fund, what they give you? They give you diversification. So mutual funds avoid concentration risk. Getting it or not? Any doubt in it? So you have to manage the portfolio so well that there will not be any concentration risk. Okay, portfolio means collection of your investment categories, like various investment categories into one pool. Okay, stipulate quantitative ceiling on aggregate exposure on specific rating categories, distribution of borrowers in various industry, business group, and conduct rapid portfolio reviews. So you need to stipulate that up to this much of amount you are going to give a loan to power sector, or if it is a employee of power sector, you are going to give loan up to 10 lakhs, not beyond that. So this needs to be highly stipulated. Remember, don't think these are long words. This is not going to be your interview question. Sorry, your written test. They will say why portfolio management is required to mitigate credit risk, and they will discuss all this and they will skip one of them, and you have to point out. So for that, you need to understand the philosophy behind everything. The existing framework of tracking the NPA loans around the balance sheet date does not signal the quality of the entire loan book. There should be a proper and regular ongoing system for identification of credit weakness well in advance. Initiate steps to preserve the desired portfolio quality and integrate portfolio reviews with credit decision making process. So there should be a regular check of the portfolio where you have given your loans. After you have already given your credit managers, as a bank, I'm saying you, after your credit managers give loans to the customers, you have to a credit policy. It is always said data should be centralized and decision should be decentralized. Okay, data should be there in center and decision making power should be given to branch level and to individual credit managers. So it is always said data should be centralized and decision should be decentralized, so that without loss or delay of time, a branch manager can take appropriate decision. Okay, so this is it. Okay, so you have to, once your credit managers sanction loans to customers, your centralized data team should make a portfolio. How much of loan is given to power sector, how much of loan is given to other sectors, how much of loan is given to coal sectors, how much of loan is given to mines, how much loan is given as unsecured. So this portfolio needs to be tracked, needs to be reviewed, needs to be rechecked again and again well in advance before a weakness comes into effect. So for that you also need to assess the risks in surroundings. Okay. So risk rating model. There should be risk ratings, various risk ratings. Set up comprehensive risk scoring system into 6 to 9 point scale. So they say this risk rating model should be a 6 to 9 point rating. Okay. So clearly define rating threshold and review the ratings periodically, preferably at a half yearly intervals. Ratings migration is to be mapped to estimate the expected loss. Risk based scientific pricing link loan pricing to expected loss. So what they want to say here is you have to define a rating threshold, how much of rating a portfolio should get or how much of rating a individual loan should get. Even after disbursement of the loan, you have to rate loans portfolios based on this risk rating model. This loan to coal sector carries a risk of 6 in this scale. This loan to this particular borrower carries a risk rating of 9, etc. Needs to be linked. Every portfolio or every profile should be attached with a risk rating. Okay, and this risk rating should be assessed in every half year, and rating migration is to be mapped to estimate and expected loss. Okay, what could be expected loss? So if there is a more expected loss in certain portfolio, you have to raise the price or raise the interest rate in that certain portfolio. Okay, high risk category borrowers are to be priced high. Build historical data on default losses. Allocate capital to observe the unexpected loss. Adopt the RAROC framework. Okay, so retail asset framework you need to adopt. Okay, that means there should be a retail asset center, and there should be a there should be a committee of regional credit committee. There should be there to assess this loan portfolio. Okay, at the same time you should have scope and hub model. These are effective, these are there in private banks. Scope and hub model means there is a main area where one asset management hub where all the loans will flow to one place, and the branches will serve as a scope. Okay, scope, and they will serve, they will extend, they will forward the loan facilities to the hub, and there it will be disbursed. Okay, so this is a risk rating model. Then comes this loan review mechanism. This should be done independent of credit operations. It is also referred as credit audit. It should be called credit audit, in other words, covering review of sanction process, compliance status, review of risk rating, pick up the warning signals. Warning signals, if there is a power industry are going to be in crunch, you should set up a warning signal before that, or your portfolio is starting to show some negative remark, some negative signs, like some of your loans to power sector has gone already gone slipped to NPA, then these are called the warning signals. Okay, so pick up the warning signals, recommendations of corrective action with objective of improving the credit quality. If you see that my loans to power sector have already started deteriorating, they are now gone to NPAs. 10% of these loan to power sector are already gone to NPA. You suddenly inform your credit team, just check twice before sanctioning a loan to any power sector employee or any power sector unit, right? So this should be done well in advance. It should target all loans above certain cutoff limit, ensuring that at least 30% to 40% of portfolio is subject to LRM in a year, so as to ensure that all major credit risk embedded embedded in the balance sheet to have been tracked. That is, LRM here is nothing but this year line, line above, loan review mechanism. Okay, so it should target that all loans above that certain cutoff should ensure that at least 30 to 40% of portfolio is subject to loan review mechanism in a year, so as to ensure that all major credit risk embedded in the balance sheet have been tracked. So whatever loan risk you are going to, loan portfolio asset size you are going to put in your balance sheet, up maximum up to 30 to 40% you need to review before you put that amount in balance sheet. Okay, so that means in all your loan portfolio, out of 100% loan portfolio, you have to review at least 30-40% of your loan files, right? This is done to bring about qualitative improvement in credit administration, identify loans with credit weakness, determine adequacy of loan loss provisions, ensure adherence to lending policies and procedures. Okay, so the focus of credit audit needs to be broadened from account level to overall portfolio level. Regular, proper and prompt reporting to top management should be ensured. Credit audit is conducted on site, that is at the branch that has appraised the advance and where the main operative limits are made available. However, it is not required to visit borrower's factory office premises. So these are the loan review mechanism. These are broad mechanism how to review loans. Once you all receive this PDF, just go through all that. Let me outline broader concepts now, because we have more slides to cover. We have almost covered 50%. Here is credit risk mitigation. If you want me to continue to complete this class today, it's okay, or else if it is bouncing now, we can close, because we are already completed 1 hour. We can start this class again in our day after tomorrow. Tomorrow I am in transit, so day after tomorrow we will start from credit risk mitigation, because we have a lot to cover here. Securitization transaction, steps in securitization, process flow of SPV, that is a special purpose vehicle, parties in SPV, credit derivatives. We will discuss what are the types of credit derivatives, that is credit default swap, total return swap. Yes, if all permits, like, yes, because we have a lot to discuss here in the class. What is credit default swap, how this credit default swap affects, how it is done. Okay, so total return swap, there are a lot many to cover. I think if I will cover the entire thing in one class, it may bounce. Yes, Nitin says day after tomorrow. I may go on teaching you long, but at the same time, this must be useful to you. Okay, so what all of you feel with this class? What is your feeling in this class? Is it useful or not? Is it useful or not? Risk people, your feedbacks first. Yes, Nitin. Thank you. I'm going to make every class useful. Yes. Okay, Madhu. Right. Very, very useful. Anil says, trust me, it was very, very useful. Okay. That's great. That's great. Any change in teaching style or any change you can suggest me, because your feedback matters. Even if I have great knowledge, but that doesn't matter if I cannot effectively communicate with you. Okay, I want to make the syllabus easy for you, concise for you. I don't want you to read unnecessary materials. I just at the same time I want to show the entire world that there is a difference in our style of teaching and in others, because I am just now claiming that we are the first platform to exclusively target this lateral entry and specialist officer segment. And I'm very right in this approach, because there was no such class. I myself, my friends have suffered. Everybody says me where to refer, exactly what to refer. Okay, and there is also a issue that my South Indian friends were not getting exact exact classes, because all of them were teaching in Hindi. So I that's why I restored to English, because in your interview it is English going to matter. Then why should not we restore to English? What is it? What is the issue in it? If you are going to answer the question in English, then why should not you read it? Is there any issue in my English? I know my English is not that good, but is there any issue in communication? Do you feel anywhere that I am not effectively communicating you in English? Better you could restore to Hindi. Is there any issue? Because many of you have, yeah, not at all. Right, Madhu? Thank you for the feedback. I have also allowed people wherever you need it to be elaborated in Hindi. Okay, no, Nitin says no. Thank you. If you want me to elaborate something in Hindi, we can discuss it in Hindi. Okay, I have no issues in Hindi. I have a Hindi poetry book available in Amazon. In free times, I was a poet, but it was 10 years back. I have just discontinued that practice, but I have no issue in Hindi as well. Okay, thank you, friends, for being with me. We'll come with more classes, more syllabus, and we'll continue with this from day after tomorrow. Okay. Okay, Anil says no such class there or anywhere. Specialist credit, and yes, yes, yes. Thank you such for such kind words. Okay, thank you.